भद्रं कर्णैभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागं सस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. So, dear friends, welcome to this special service this Sunday in honor of Shankaracharya. Let us begin as usual with our prayers, congregational prayers. So please join in offering this prayer. We offer our salutations to the all-loving being who endows all beings with consciousness. We meditate on the Lord, who is the origin of the universe. Lord, thou abidest in all, thou art all, thou assumest all forms. Thou art the origin and goal of all. Thou art the self of all. Thou art existence, knowledge and bliss. Salutations unto thee. May the world be peaceful. May the wicked become gentle. May all creatures think of mutual welfare. May their minds be occupied with what is spiritual and abiding. May our hearts be immersed in selfless love for the Lord. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. Let us feel in our heart our true innermost being, our true self as a bright, luminous spark, and let us concentrate on that. With concentration, I see that light becoming brighter and brighter, bigger and bigger. My whole personality is filled with that. I see I am this self beyond body and mind, and yet pervading them. I see the same light pervading the whole universe. I see there is nothing apart from this self. Unborn, infinite, beyond time and space, of the nature of supreme bliss. Om, peace, peace, peace. Om Asatu Ma Sadgamaya Tamasu Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityormam Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, and from this limited existence subject to birth, death, rebirth and so forth, to the eternal, immortal existence. Om, peace, peace, peace. One of the cornerstones or the main important thrust of the Vedanta philosophy is the Atman or the self. It has been shown that the purpose of life is to experience that self alone is. Atman alone abides. That alone is, it alone lives, it alone sustains everything. Everything is that else that we see is superimposed on the self or the Atman. According to Shankaracharya, this etymology of this word Atman, as he has given in the commentary on the Aitariya Upanishad, that it is from the word ap, means it is to pervade, it is pervasive. So, all pervasive. Then, ad means eater. It consumes everything. And at means it is continuously shifting, moving, and so what thus it means Atman is which is everywhere, which consumes everything and is ever on the move. So, ever on the move is an interesting word because it can never be localized. In that sense, it is ever on the move. So, this is a great idea, Atman. And this is, as we know, it is the beginning of the inquiry in Vedanta, or what gets commonly called Hinduism, that how we begin our search, and the most prominently advised way is to begin that what we are sure of, something that we can never reject, we can never deny. And that is this idea, I am. I am is an experience. It is not right to call it just an idea, but I am is an unchanging experience that we have. Everything else is in a way presupposed by this experience, I am. Then I see this hall, I see this picture, I see the street outside, I see my friends sitting around and all that. It is, before that there is this I always that is experienced. And this experience, this feel of I is therefore the point of inquiry. In inquiry or in arguments, the constructive way is to begin the argument where we agree, there is no dispute. Then we can go to the points disputed. We find that even when there is some kind of a business dispute to be resolved, or some important discussion is going to take place on certain points which are a kind of matter of contentions. So we begin there by saying, today is a nice sunny day. And so something that everybody will surely agree on. And then take the discussion from there. Because right in the beginning, if we bring the points where we don't agree at all, if I say, well, it is bright sunshine. If you say, no, it is all rainy, cloudy weather, then, well, there is a dispute. Of course, now many people are listening online at different places, so certainly some places it may be quite dark now, like in, say, in Middle East or in India, it would be quite dark. So, but when we are, say, sitting together, not virtually, but with our real bodies, then we would say, okay, it is bright sunshine. Yes, no difficulty in agreeing with that. So like that, this is posited, that I am. Come on, any problem with that? No. Because as Shankaracharya mentions, even to raise doubt about it, hey, I have problem, I don't agree that I am. Even to say that, there has to be you to say that. There has to be this I. The experience of I alone can support any other interaction. So it is something that can never be disputed. So this is thus the starting point. And then the next point is why one needs to inquire. If I am sure about it, if I am sure that I am, well, I experience it. Where is the question of further analysis or debate or inquiry into it? And the reason given there is, although while I am sure I am not sure about how, where, etc., how this I came to be, where from this I dropped in here, and where exactly it is. Can I just show it on the palm of my hand? Look, this is this. Can I show that? No. It is, can I tell the other characteristics of this I, whether it is tall or short, No, I don't know whether it is tall or short. Body, I know, tall or short. But whether it is tall or short, I have no. This question itself, I am not able to grasp. What is the meaning of I being tall or short? Is it that white or black or what color it has got? No, we can't tell. We don't know. So there is lot of confusion about this, that how it is. We know it is, but we do not have any exact understanding of it, and so we are aware of it. We are, most protective about it, that I have to preserve myself. It is so. Therefore, these days we put on the mask. We don't go here, there, where there could be this coronavirus infection and so forth. We avoid that to protect ourselves. But let me see, what am I protecting? I have to have some clear idea of this I, because everything is being done for me. Now, who am I? If I don't know that, then all my activities are like in a confused state. I do not know who am I, what is this characteristics of the I, and therefore whatever I do is all very confusing. Therefore, we experience this also, that something I do, thinking that it will make me happy. We end up becoming unhappy by doing that. It is a common experience that nobody goes to do something that they know will make them unhappy. We don't. Yeah, it is. We go to make ourselves happy. And if we succeed in that, then there would have been no unhappiness in the world. What is the fact? Completely opposite. We have so much of unhappiness and misery everywhere, and obviously the reason is we do not know who am I and what will make me happy, and so we randomly do something which we instinctively, there is a thought that this would make me happy. But I don't know. So therefore, it exactly is the situation that I need to know who am I? What is the nature of this self? This self is to be known, therefore. This in Upanishads, therefore, you will find Sa Atma Sa Vijñeya. This Atman, therefore, has to be realized. That has to be the subject of our one and only inquiry. Other inquiries are secondary. When a person becomes, thinks deeply, one comes to this unavoidable, undisputable conclusion that inquiry into the self is the inquiry of life. Everything else is secondary. So therefore, this inquiry into the self proceeds, that I have to know. And the first problem, when we hear this statement of Upanishads, that Atman alone abides, Atman alone is. It is that is how this Aitareya Upanishad begins, and we will come to that, the actual statement of that Upanishad. But then this question comes, okay, but what about all this I see, does that not abide? That this world I not only see, it is why the Upanishads say Atman alone is, nothing else is. Nothing else is. That is again a statement that even if we believe that the sages are telling the truth, it is quite confusing because my experience does not tally with it. That is where the question of confusion comes. When you go to an authority, you respect that authority. But then the statement of authority does not tally with what you see, what you perceive, or your notions that had been built up earlier. Then, is this true or is that true? What is real? So, what about all this world? World of different colors, different objects, different movements, various events going on. Say for millions of years, we read the history of the universe. That there was just, nothing. And then there was the Big Bang. So all this, what is all this? I see this universe with immense complexity. Now, where does it then come from, and does it not exist? I cannot convince myself that it doesn't exist. In fact, these go together. Becoming aware of I and becoming aware of what I see. That I am. That itself, I see all these things, I am aware of the world. The awareness of I and the awareness of the world goes together. They stand or fall together. If one is not there, then the other is also not there. Like when you go in deep sleep. Imagine that. There are these three states that we all experience. And this state of waking, where we have the waking experience of I and this world. Then we have in the dream same, that the experience of I and the dream world, that also is there. And there is the experience of the dreamless deep sleep, where you don't experience I. Do you experience world? That also is not experienced. So, therefore, what gets called commonly as the law of concomitant connection, that I and world, they stand together or fall together. So, if you say I am, that I alone is, the self alone is, then do you mean to say this world does not exist? And not only that, there is the I see the world. What is this? But again, I have another problem with this I. That it is very difficult, to give up that problem. I have to understand, go deep into it. I am sorry, Mr. Sage of Upanishad. I feel I need to challenge you on this because it does not tally my experience. What about so many people I see? Millions of them all around. Each of them has I. All say I am. So, is that I alone, or there are so many I's? It is how to make plural of I is difficult, It is in grammar, there is no plural of this word capital I. This I, EYE, you have plural. But this capital I, what is the plural of it? So, for our purpose of discussion, I said eyes. So many eyes, see millions of people, and it gets sometimes in the big crowd, they what gets called the mob psychology. You do not have the your eye separate from other, but it is still difficult to exactly identify which is my eye and your eye. It is I experienced that quite a few times long back when I used to travel on many occasions in very, very crowded trains, local trains in Mumbai, suburban trains. And it is even, to get into that is difficult. So much of crowd, and you somehow elbow in your way. Since you have the practice, you can do that. That those who have never boarded that such train, by even the look of it, they will say, no, no, I am not going into that. So it is, you elbow your way, get into that, and it is jam packed. It is so jam packed. Even in actually, you should say it is jelly packed instead of jam. It is so hard, thick packing. And so everybody is holding the bar somewhere, and then you are standing somehow, somebody's shoe may be on your foot, this, so many things are going on, you are holding, somehow looking about here and there. And after a while, you do not even see which is your hand and which is the hand of the other person. There is a confusion. So, it is because they are all different hands connected with different eye. It is when my stop comes, then my hand is taken off the bar, not the other hand. But when holding, this eye, that eye, so many eye. And so, if you think, it is a good meditation actually, that all of us are going in that same train. Each one, look at the mind of everyone. Each has a different purpose, different priorities, different connections, different anxieties and worries, different sources of pleasure. All these are I. Can you see then only one I or so many I? As it becomes a question, and then it becomes still more further confusing when we see all other different creatures. What about their eye? Each of them again has an eye. It is, say, the eye here and the eye of the tick which might be biting me. Now, are those eyes different or same? In fact, we are so close, the tick is even not visible. Are those eyes same? This body that I call I, it has so many different microbes. In fact, the microbes are running the body. Now, each of those microbes again is a bona fide living being. Each has an eye. Now, how the eye of this Swami is connected with all those different trillion eyes there, microbe eyes. So, all very confusing. So, and you are saying that Atman alone abides. You mean that Atman alone is that self is just one without second? And what is this multiplicity of selves I see? The multiplicity of various things I see. Uh, please, you need to explain your position. It seems your position is not tenable at all in the face of this universal experience. Even if we go by, they ask others, you will find that you are in an insignificant minority. Majority of people, a vast majority, 99.999% people will say, no, I and the world both are real, and there are so many different I. It is not alone. So, you have to provide some explanation. Look at the overwhelming argument against this principal statement of Vedanta: Atman alone abides. So, we have seen so far that what the sages now have to say, let us try to go into that. They have their experience, we have our experience. So when our experiences tally, no need of argument. Like it is a very nice sunny evening, bright. Our experiences tally, we do not argue about it. Now the experience of the sages and my experience, they are not tallying. So I have to then therefore question the sage. Please explain your position to me. Why should I abandon my notion and take up yours? So it is, we shall take it up, that it is, if we see that what we call this world, sages tell us, hey, look a little bit calmly, and be calm down. And then you will be able to think better. If the mind is full of effervescence, so many thoughts are crossing each other, and we are disturbed, irritated, then the thinking doesn't happen. So calm down. So now look, what is this abides? You will notice that alone remains, that alone lives, that alone exists, because all others are coming and going. The existence of all these is temporary. This is all different shapes and different names given according to those shapes. As Shankaracharya mentions in the commentary of this Aitareya Upanishad, that Nama Rupa Dibhivyakrita means it has become differentiated, has become multifarious just by different shapes, and these different shapes get different names. Like the familiar example that I have given several times, invoked several times from this podium, is the animal crackers. That the substance we all know is same, but that very same one without second substance appears in different shapes, and according to that shape a name gets attached to that. Well, this is a camel, this is a crocodile. Now the substance of all that is same, but yet nama rupa dibhiv. So just nam and rup, name and the form, that is making this difference. So you see, and moreover, these names and forms, they come and go. There is a birth for them. What does it mean? Everything, each person, well, you tell the date of birth. I was born such and such date. I told you that joke earlier that in the doctor's office I was calling, and to verify the identity, the person asked that, well, your date of birth? And I gave the date, January 7 something. So, uh, and that person naturally asked the year, and I wanted to have a little fun, and so I said, well, every year it is same. So, year is no, but and then that person found it not so easy to phrase the question. No, what I mean, the exact date, actual date that you were born, which year? So then I told that year also, and so it is each of us or everything also has a birth. And if you think of it, that before that it was not there, that form was not there, that name was not there. When my parents would be discussing, as I was a small child, some 4 or 5 years old, and then something that happened many years ago, so I would ask them, where was I then? Where was I then? Oh, you were not in existence then. You were not born. So, before birth, it did not exist. You give a date of birth. Before that, it is not there. And then there is a date of death. A person passed away, gone. So after that, again it is not there. And it is true with everything, not just human beings. The animals, the microbes, the virus also, and all the things that we sometimes call as inanimate. They also have the same fate. There is a date of birth. If you go along, you know that some of the old buildings right here within a mile, then you see a year put there, that built in 1837 or very old ones. So before that it was not there. And then many such buildings have been pulled down to make something else. So it was there, it is no more there. Now we used to have this number earlier, that it is 225 Angel Street. Now if you search for it, you won't find that address, that number, because that has now become absorbed in the Vedanta societies. 227 Angel Street building where we are standing, where I am standing right now. So thus it was, but it is no more there. So in between, what is, you feel that it is existing as it were. There is a very nice principle in Vedanta that you find it in Mandukya Karikas, the verse commentary on the Mandukya Upanishad by Gaudapadacharya. Adau ante cha yannasti vartamane pitat tatha. A great idea that, it is difficult to absorb this, that what is not adau ante means before the beginning, and at the end, that which is not there, Vartamanepi means even now, although you are seeing it, you are experiencing it, it is not there. And he gives the experience of dream. Well, it is when you went to bed, it was not there. When you woke up, it is not there. Do you believe that it was there in the middle? That also you know it was just a dream, an illusion. It actually was not there. So, therefore, what we see as it is, though see that it is there only between these two, beginning and end, then even then it is only an illusory appearance. Now, apply that to everything that we see. It is all illusory. It is non-existent. Its existence does not abide, means does not continue, does not endure. Its existence is illusory. It appears, but when you go to verify, it is not there. Like when you stand in front of the mirror, you see you are reflected in the mirror as if you are there. But you move away from the mirror, now you are not there. So your existence in the mirror was an illusory existence. It was temporary, impermanent. So therefore this is the not true. And then further it is told that in the Aitareya Upanishad, this is the first verse that you see, that in the beginning Atman alone was, nothing existed. Atma va ek eva idam agra asit nanyat kinchana mishata. That it is, there was just this self, Atman, alone. And then they naturally, so we get this thought, okay, at that time, in the beginning, it was alone. So, because the Upanishad uses the past tense there, the words in the language has meaning, so it was. Even if we accept the statement of sages that it was alone, nothing else existed then, again past tense. But now the situation has changed, so you can, we will agree to that. In the beginning it alone was, now it is all multiplicity. So that is what the sages try to tell, isn't it? Shankaracharya says, no, even now also Atman alone is. It is, the word was is used only to indicate the stage of ignorance of that. In knowledge it is still one. In ignorance it is, it appears to be many changing forms and names, that all is pervaded by the Atman alone. And the Atman was, is and will be, whether these names and forms remain or they don't remain. There is this confusion between the two, as he describes that it is the two superimpose on each other. That is again a great contribution of Shankaracharya to the philosophy called superimposition, Adhyasa. So, because one gets superimposed on other, the qualities of both of them get kind of confused and we mistake one for another. atasmin tad buddhi. He mentions that in that what is called this superimposition commentary of Shankaracharya. It is an introductory commentary to his commentary to Brahma Sutras, the Vedanta aphorisms. So he mentions there that, well, it is the superimposition, the superimposed names and forms on the self. And thus you see all this. And that is why in ignorance we have this kind of our day-to-day living is on these two contradictory principles coming together in a superimposed way, confusing way. It is that how it is that Ayam idam mama idam, what Sri Ramakrishna used to say, I and mine. I and mine. Ayam idam, aham idam, mamedam. Iti naisargikoyam loka vyavharaha. That it is quite natural for people to transact their business taking this ignorance as basis, I and the world. It is the ignorance because you cannot really draw a demarcating line. Try and you will always fail. That where I ends and where world begins. Every single action and thought of ours, thought is a mental action. So every single thought, every single action takes for granted this division, I and the world, the perceiver and the perceived. But where the perceiver ends and the perceived begins, you cannot draw a demarcating line. Take this as an exercise. Let me draw that here the I ends and from that the world begins. You will find it is a hopeless task. And the Vedantis therefore say you cannot draw it simply because such a line does not exist. Just as you see that there is the horizon, you see, but it is just an illusion. You cannot let me reach the horizon, you cannot reach the horizon because it doesn't exist for you to reach there. So, this division does not exist. See what a tremendous statement it is, friends, showing that all our life in this world is based on this very, very wrong assumption, I and world. And therefore, since based on against the reality, it is not real. And therefore, in the world, we meet frustrations. We meet misery. So Shankaracharya, near the end of this great piece of commentary, he says that this superimposition is the cause of entire all this misery, and therefore Vedanta tries to eliminate this confusion between I and the world. There is only Atman, the self alone is, and that appears in so many different forms. It is, he mentions that how the self alone pervades in everything. You see in so many of his commentaries, and now I will quote from one of his hymns, a very highly philosophical hymn that gives that self alone is. that appears in all these juxtaposed different forms and different names, and that causes the delusion. It is so. This hymn is Dakshina Murthy Stotram. It begins by invoking the analogy of seeing as something in the mirror, a city seen in the mirror. Or you can even think of, you are standing in front of the mirror. That how it is that Vishwam Darpan Drishyman Nagari Tulyam Nijantargatam Pashyan Atmani Mayaya Bahirivod Bhutam Yatha Nidraya. That look, it is just as you stand in front of the mirror, it is appearing as if there. You are appearing as if you are out there. Although you are here, but you are seeing as if there. So similarly, it is all you, but you feel as if it is something outside you. You are not in the mirror, but are seen in the mirror. If you wipe your forehead, then that mirror you also wipes its forehead. It has no existence apart from you. It doesn't exist. You alone are. So also this self alone appears as drishyamana, means appearance. That's it. It is everywhere there is that self manifest. Another verse from that very great hymn is, look, everything is having this split or dual role in your experience, that it is Vishwam Pashyati Karya Karanataya Swami Sambandhatah Shishyacharya tathaiva pitruputradhyatmana bhedatah Swapne jagrati vaya esha purusho maya samachhadanat Tasmai Shri Gurumurtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshina Murtaye. That same self, it is somewhere it is teacher, and then you see, a person is not teacher without a student. They are two connected things. Because of the student, that fellow is a teacher. Nobody is a father or mother unless there is a child. Therefore they say it is the child that has made me father or mother. It is, so they go together. It is that the master and the worker go together. It is the singer and singing goes together. That it is, so I have never sung a song. Then how am I, can I call myself a singer? No. It is, so in relation only these things exist. They do not have any independent status as such. It is the self alone is manifesting in all these different forms. These forms come and go. This self endures. It alone endures. And that is why to know this through analysis, through meditations, through various these disciplines that are prescribed as the Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, all these disciplines what happens is these disciplines help us to curb the persisting wrong understanding about I and world. And thus, when that wrong understanding is curbed, the right understanding emerges. It is not that this spiritual practices uh, of any kind they make you the knower. They only help us to remove the ignorance about it, and the innate knowledge of the self thus automatically flashes. So this is the glory of this Atman. It is one and the same, only appearances are different. We all know that great example of Sri Ramakrishna, that it is, he would see it is the same. Somebody was walking on a strip of grass and he felt the pain in his chest. It is the same self here and there. When he prayed to Divine Mother on the insistence of his disciples led by Narendranath, future Swami Vivekananda, that you must tell Divine Mother to make yourself all right again. It is, if you can do it for at least our sake. You and Sri Ramakrishna, forced by them, goes to the Divine Mother and comes back with the face kind of, not very happy. It is, and Narendra asked, so what did Divine Mother say? Well, I just asked her that this is very painful here on the throat. Make such arrangements so that I can eat a little bit. Then what did Divine Mother say? Well, she scolded. She said, are you not ashamed? You are eating by all mouths. Who is eating by all these mouths? This is a matter of experience of the self. So, it is not an intellectual concept, friends. And the more we advance in this practice, as the ignorance recedes, we shall be able to feel it more and more in our lives. So, on this day, while we are thinking of Shankaracharya, let us pray for his blessings to make us get into the intense practice for this. Thank you very much, friends. Let us meditate on these thoughts for just about half a minute, and then in case you have any comments, questions, we can take them up. Yes, please.
Question from Chris. When Sri Ramakrishna says the form of God is also real, does this contradict Shankaracharya's Vedanta? Is the Vedanta of Sri Ramakrishna different from Shankara's?
Oh, well, very good question. No, they are not different at all. The form of God is real for that spiritual aspirant. It is because that aspirant is moving forward, taking up that form. So, for that aspirant, that form of God also is real till that aspirant transcends that form and merges into reality. It is like this. It is, suppose you want to say eat a cookie. You like it, you want to eat it. Now you are seeing it. Now, what you are seeing is actually a form that you know is the form of cookie. So you see that as form, take it to be real. Walk towards the cookie. Ah, take it in your fingers. Bring that to your mouth. Put it between the lips and bite it. Now, does the form remain? Now you and cookie have become one. Now that form is not needed there. So, in the same way, as a spiritual practice, depending on the temperament of the spiritual aspirant, the form is taken up. And this is nothing against Shankaracharya's philosophy. It is Shankaracharya also accepts that there are many passages in his commentary. For example, in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, there comes this statement about various types of upasanas or worship rituals. And he says there, that Upanishad says, Atma iti eva upasita, that worship it as Atman. There is nothing wrong in worshipping that deity, but worship it as Atman, as a manifestation of yourself. So that is, Shankaracharya explains there. Otherwise, you will not be able to really worship it. It will be a relation of just a master and a slave. That also is in Upanishad. There it's the same, that otherwise you become a slave to that form. So therefore, if you want to, and then there is not really the spirit of loving worship. So worship it as yourself. Connect it to you. And thus what happens? Connection means what? The two are now being felt as one. They are connected. Like this microphone and this podium, they are connected. So this whole thing is like a one assembly. So you and the form of God, your form of the God, they form, there is this same substratum on which they are. And so gradually one starts seeing the oneness. And therefore it is also told that form is to be meditated on in you. A very interesting idea. It is not as completely separate from you. So gradually what you realize is your true nature, your true self. And that is why form of God, it is God is being called as Paramatma. That it is your true self. That is the God, your true self. Because you are bound by forms, your perception being like that, you have no choice but to think of God in form, and you have to take it for that time being as real. Yeah.
Question from Abhijit. Pranam Maharaj, thank you for the inspiring talk. Whereas the I am is our first-hand experience, the oneness of I in other beings being the same seems like an intellectual reasoning. How can this oneness be also experienced first-hand like our own I am?
Yes. It is a good question, and this is the field of sadhana, spiritual practice, where it is an intellectual exercise, is gradually, when practiced, then it comes more and more to one's own experience. Even what you say, like I, is a first-hand experience, I am. But here also there is my, like my hand. Is it I or not I? If it is pulled, you will say you are pulling me. But it is me. Somebody just says that no, I didn't murder anybody. I just this finger alone pulled the trigger. So punishment should be given only to finger, not to me. Now it is the same I actually, but here also we can divide that this is the first hand experience, but again becomes kind of split second hand experience. So similarly, the reverse thing as well, that what you see as the I in these different people, different entities. Now, as you try to just push aside the name and form, that is a sadhana of Vedanta. It can be done in various ways, but just abstract, remove the form, the shape, the name, and you are left with the same self. So that is the how one progresses with sadhana. There is a beautiful verse in Kathopanishad that you begin where you are, that asti iti upalabdhavyah tattva bhavena chobhayoh, asti iti upalabdhasya tattva bhava prasidati. A great idea in spiritual practice. Okay, take it up as a premise that yes, I understand that the self alone is. I take it up as you guys do in mathematics, you that enunciate a theorem and then bring proof for it. If you do not believe it in the outset, at the outset, you will not even make an effort to prove it. You will not even make the statement. So you first make the statement and then you take it. Okay, it may be true, may not be true. Let me try to show that it is true. So you now dwell on it. So this is sadhana, that take the statement of the sages as this your as the statement and that a theorem to be proved, and now bring the proofs. Now here the proofs cannot be just intellectuals. In mathematics, well, it can be, it has to be just intellectual. Here you have to intensify the experiential component, that okay, if I see that that and I are same, let me try to push aside the forms, and then we will not be able to see the difference. It does become so tattva bhavaha. So if you persist on it, if you accept it, and then try to get the evidence, the proof by doing the taking the appropriate steps of spiritual practice. And then what happens? You start seeing it. Hey, it is sometimes the theorems are counterintuitive, and yet you see the statements. Like one of that Cantor's theorem, the statement is so counterintuitive that it is the idea of various infinities, and then a statement comes that this dense set of rational numbers is countable. Means it is same like the number-wise, this same similar set like the set of natural numbers. Although natural numbers is a discrete set, between 1 and 2 there is no other natural number. But in case of rational numbers, Well, between every two rational numbers, any two rational numbers, you will have infinitely many rational numbers. So, therefore, when this theorem was given, I thought that no, this can't be true. But then, as the proof evolves, you start seeing, that makes sense. It is true. Then you become convinced of it. So, what I mean is, these things are therefore to be worked upon. That is the nature of sadhana. Let me abstract the forms, forms and the names, and I will be able to see that. So, this is the way that one, it makes the experiential, you start as intellectual and then end up as experiential. Thank you. So, we shall conclude with the closing prayers. Let me tell you something about the classes, lectures coming up. That it is in the month of May. Well, in the month of this May is proving, making its name meaningful, because things may or may not, depending on the coronavirus situation, that they will, as such, we are sure that we will be able to continue online alone. But there is a possibility that there could be some people would be able to come and so forth. It may or may not. So this is the month of May. So next Sunday, May 10th, it will be after Buddha's birthday. Buddha's birthday in the Indian system is celebrated on the full moon day of this month, and that is falling on Thursday, coming Thursday. So, but we will be discussing that Buddha's practical solution to the problem of suffering. So, that will be the topic of discussion. The Tuesday and Friday classes will go on as usual at 7:30 p.m. Tuesday the topic is Sri Ramakrishna and his divine play, and Fridays it is stories from Srimad Bhagavatam. So, wish you all the best, friends. So, let us conclude with the closing prayers. May the Divine, who is Father in heaven of the Christians, Holy One of the Jewish faith, Allah of the Muslims, Buddha of the Buddhists, Tao of the Taoists, Great Spirit of the Native Americans, Ahur Mazda of the Zoroastrians, and Brahman of the Hindus, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May the all-loving being manifest himself unto us and grant us abiding understanding and all-consuming divine love. Peace, peace, peace be unto all.